Thank you.
Years ago, on a deep winter night, high in the heavens the stars shone bright, while in a manger a wee baby lay, sweetly asleep on a bed of hay. Jesus our Lord was that baby so small, laid down to sleep in a humble stall. Then came the star and it stood overhead, shedding its light round his little bed. Dear baby Jesus, how tiny thou art. I'll make a place for thee in my heart.
We just stand at that door
And
and ask
when
Lord
the stars in the heavens I see, ever and always I'll think of thee.
Thank you, Carrie Powell. Carrie Powell is our musician for today. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you so much for being here to celebrate Christmas Day here at Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. Ty, would you open the doors and greet people as they come in so that I'm sure some people will be coming in. I'm Reverend Dr. Christina Tillotson, and I get to do the holiday ministry here, and it is my pleasure to do Christmas Day here. We're going to start with a prayer, as we always do. So just feeling that celebration of that light and that love that is born today throughout all of creation. Doesn't matter what it's called. It doesn't matter what it's called, the Christ light or Buddha consciousness or Adonai or the Tao or the Force. It is that one power and presence throughout as all of its creation that is especially celebrated on this sacred day in this world. And I know that I am that, a perfect expression of that light and that love of spirit, and that each one here is that perfect expression of that light and that love of spirit right here and right now on this sacred day, celebrating that light within. And I'm knowing that light that was within each one here just explodes throughout this community and this state and this country and this world, bathing this whole world and this whole universe in this light and this love of Christmas. And I'm just so, so grateful for this light and this love and for this day of celebration as I release this word to the law, knowing that it is now done in complete joy and light and love. And so it is. Amen. Can you tell I love Christmas? I love Christmas. I love everything about it. I love the lights. I love the music. I love the candles. I love everything. And you probably know that they celebrate that Jesus was being born on Christmas Day, but it really was sometime in the spring, and that the Christmas was taken over by the Romans because it was a pagan holiday for the celebration of the light coming back into the world. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter when it really happened. Whatever it is that celebration of that Christ light, with that light within each one of us. Christ consciousness. We celebrate Christ consciousness today. And the Christ is a springing up into expression of the word of truth that has been planted in individual consciousness. It's the divine realization of wholeness and unity with God. It's spirit, the force, whatever it is that you want to call it. And one of the reasons that I am just so excited about Christmas is I actually found this philosophy, this faith, this way of life up in Napa because of Christmas. Back about in 1982, I was involved in a thing called the Holiday Project, where you actually visit people in veterans' homes and nursing homes on Christmas Day and Thanksgiving Day, because everybody visits before and after, but not on the actual day. And so I started the Holiday Project in Napa, and I went to the Religious Science Church in Napa to make an announcement, the first time I ever walked in the door, to make an announcement about the Holiday Project, and I knew I was home. And we had 500 volunteers that year, and so Christmas has always been such a big deal for me, because I'm so grateful that I discovered this philosophy because of Christmas. And also my name is Christina, and duh. Hello. It means Christ's messenger. And so for about the past 35 years, I've been really interested in what really happened, and I've been studying all the archaeological discoveries and all of the reading. But the thing is that every single path celebrates that oneness of spirit, that divine spark within each one of us that we celebrate at Christmas. The Christians celebrate Christmas. The Buddhists have Buddha consciousness. The Taoists have that chi, that life force that flows through all beings. But I just love that we get to celebrate Christmas. And I love Christmas so much that I never even take my tree down until about February or March or April. And there's this wonderful minister. Her name was Johnny Coleman in Chicago. She had one of the biggest New Thought churches in the world. She had thousands and thousands of people coming every Sunday. And she loved Christmas so much that she kept her prayer room active all year with a Christmas tree in her prayer room to remind herself of that Christ light within each one. And it doesn't matter if you call it the Christ light, if that bugs you, call it something else. Call it the force. Practically everybody I know is going to go see Star Wars today after dinner. So call it whatever it is you want, but it's that light within, and we get to celebrate. Do you feel that feeling? You feel that feeling? I love it so much that last night I went to a Lutheran Christmas Eve service, because some friends of mine were singing in a cantata, and then I have a friend who's a Catholic, so we went to Catholic Mass together. And then, of course, our candlelight service here was Wednesday night, and so I just can't get enough Christmas. So I just really so appreciate you all coming here to celebrate Christmas with us. And this is Victoria Woods. She's a practitioner here, and she is going to read something from Dr. Ernest Holmes about that Christ light. Dr. Ernest Holmes is the founder of our philosophy and faith and way of life, in case you didn't know.
Hello. Merry Christmas. Christ is the embodiment of divine sonship, which has come with varying degrees of power to all people in all ages and to every person in some degree. Christ is the universal presence. We also believe that Christ comes alike to each and all. There is no one particular person predestined to become the Christ. We must understand the Christ is not a person, but a principle. It was impossible for Jesus not to have become the Christ, as the human gave way to the divine, as the man gave way to God, as the flesh gave way to spirit, as the will of division gave way to the will of unity. Jesus, the man, became the living embodiment of the Christ. I am the light of the world. Jesus was not referring to this human personality, but to the principle inherent in generic man. They who follow this inner principle shall have the light of life, for this principle is life.
Thank you, Victoria. There's a song called O Come, Emmanuel. Y'all know that song? It means God with us. And Emmanuel means God with us. And I was listening to the Lutheran pastor last night, and he was saying that Emmanuel means the incarnation of spirit. He was saying in Jesus, and what we say is within all of us, because he said that you are all sons and daughters of the Most High. So that's what we get to celebrate today. So today what we're going to do is, I love the music of Christmas. When I was a teenager, I learned every single verse to every single Christmas carol. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to sing some of those Christmas carols, but before we sing them, I'm going to tell you what I think is the metaphysical meaning of those carols. And you can make those carols mean whatever it is that you want them to mean, but this is what I think they mean. So the first carol we're going to sing is It Came Upon the Midnight Clear. And I love angels. I love angels. Anyone like angels? I've got angels all over my house. I've got angel on here. Angels to me are thoughts of God. And angels are when we go inside and just listen to our intuition and feel those thoughts of God. And the angels announced that birth of that Christ consciousness that night. And they also talks about the Prince of Peace. And again, that Prince of Peace is that Christ consciousness in this earth. Another thing that I love about Christmas is this one time of the year when everybody talks about peace. Wouldn't it be lovely if we did it every day? So let's sing It Came Upon the Midnight Clear. And the words are up here. We're saving trees. We don't do programs here because I don't like to kill trees. And I hope you can all see them. And thank you, Kerry Powell, for leading the music. He leads the music every year.
It came upon the midnight clear, that glorious song of old, from angels bending near the earth to touch their hearts of gold. Peace on the earth, goodwill to men, from heaven's all gracious King. The world in solemn stillness lay to hear the angels sing. For lo, the days are hastening on, by prophet words foretold, when with the ever-circling years shall come the age of gold, when peace shall over all the earth its ancient splendors fling, and all the world give back the song which now the angels sing.
Give yourselves a hand. You are the choir. You're fabulous. You're fabulous. Well, continuing on the idea of angels, Hark the Herald Angels Sing was inspired by church bells by Charles Wesley in 1730 and set to the music of Mendelssohn in 1840. You might notice that a lot of the carols were written in the 16, 17, and 1800s. And because before that, most of the Christmas music was Gregorian chants, which I love also, but it's kind of hard to sing along with Gregorian chants. So I love the fact that we have carols that we can sing along. And of course, we've got the angels again, those thoughts of God, announcing that newborn king. And to me, that newborn king is that divine mind as us. We all get to allow that divine mind to be born within us in this Christmas season and every day. And it says that born that man no more may die. That reminds us that life is eternal. All of the great spiritual paths have always taught that life is eternal. So it doesn't matter what you call it, but we absolutely know that life is eternal when we remember that and we remember that Spirit of God within. And then there's second birth. It's born to give us second birth. Again, the birth of that light within us, remembering. The birth of that light within us is just remembering Spirit. All we have to do is take a breath and remember. And we get in all the crazy stuff in the world and all the crazy things that are going on. And what we get to do is just remember. Remember that light within. Remember that, allow that light within us to be born, because we are so connected that every thought that we think, every word that we say affects the whole world. So if we allow ourselves to think peace, to speak peace, then it affects the whole world, and all we need is a critical mass of people to think that, and the whole world transforms. So as we're singing that, I'd like you to, Victoria is going to do another reading by the great mystic Meister Eckhart. It's a real short one.
God gives birth to the Son as you and as me, as many beings, as many gods in God. I find in this divine birth that God and I are the same. I am what I was and what I shall always remain now and forever. I am transported above the highest angels. I neither decrease nor increase, for in this birth I have won back what has always been mine. Here in my own soul, the greatest of all miracles has taken place. God has returned to God.
So thank you, Victoria. So let's just go inside for a moment. Before we sing the H carol from now on, we're just going to go inside and think about these words. God returning to God, that presence born within us, for just a moment of silence. And now let's sing, Hark the Herald Angels Sing. You guys are a great choir. Thank you, Carrie, for being here and leading us so brilliantly.
Thank you, Christina.
This was always my favorite when I was a kid.
All right, choir.
I'll direct.
Okay. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Peace on earth and mercy mild, all God's children reconciled. Joyful all ye nations rise, join the triumph of the sky. With angelic hosts proclaim, Christ is born in Bethlehem. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King. Hail the heaven-born Prince of Peace, hail the Son of Righteousness. Light and life to all he brings, blessed with healing in his wings. While he lays his glory by, born that man no more may die. Born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth. Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Give yourselves a hand, choir. You're a choir leader. How many of you know A Little Town of Bethlehem? I love that song. And in metaphysical meanings, the story is that when Mary and Joseph went to Bethlehem, there was no room for them in the inn. And so the whole song about little town of Bethlehem, to me, is about making room in our lives to remember spirit, to remember the force, remember the Tao, remember whatever it is that you call it. And to me, the metaphysical meaning of Bethlehem is that din of our minds, all that crazy stuff that's going on in the world. And what we get to do is be still and rise above all that din and all that stuff in Bethlehem to that place where we can give birth to that consciousness of love, that consciousness of light. And the challenge is that when we're out in the world, when we're watching the news, when we're doing whatever it is that we're doing, the challenge is to allow ourselves to get above the din of the Bethlehem of our minds, to just remember love, just remember light, just remember peace. And as we go out into this new year, I encourage us all to do that. And then, of course, it said that Christ is born of Mary. And metaphysically, Mary is your soul of love. It is that divine feminine intuition that bursts that light of love, that light, that Christ light, that whatever kind of light you want to call it within us. So just go inside for a moment, thinking about that soul of love represented by Mary, and thinking about going above that din of the mind to that place of light and love. And let's sing, O Little Town of Bethlehem.
How still we see thee lie above thy deep and dreamless sleep. The silent stars go by, yet in thy dark street shine the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. For Christ is born of Mary and gathered all above. While mortals sleep, the angels keep their watch of wandering love. O morning stars together proclaim the holy birth, and praises sing to God the King, and peace to men on earth.
Give yourselves another hand. And of course, when we sing peace to men on earth, it means peace to all on earth. Not only peace to all men or all women, all creatures, and the whole earth. Next song is the first Noel. It's an ancient hymn. And of course, according to the Gospels, the shepherds didn't actually follow the star, but who cares? It's a Christmas carol. It's a Christmas carol. So even the Gospels, the wise men followed the star, not the shepherds. But that this carol is so beautiful. And it talks about the shepherds, our intuition and feeling, keeping watch over our thoughts in the darkness of night. So if we have thoughts of anger, or thoughts of fear, thoughts of craziness, what we do is we allow those shepherds of our intuition to keep watch over those thoughts and rise above it, like the angels did, rise above those thoughts. And that, especially in this world today, I think we need it more than ever. And then it talks about Israel, born as the king of Israel. Spiritual consciousness, Israel, this spiritual consciousness is contending and striving for God. But that knowing about Israel is knowing that there is no striving, it's already here. And that king of Israel is that spiritual consciousness that transcends the striving, that allows ourselves to stop trying. How many of you have tried really, really hard for spiritual growth? You strive and strive and strive and strive and strive. And then all of a sudden, you have this intuition, this aha. It was there all the time. So let's go inside for a moment, just acknowledging that spirit that is there all the time, and those shepherds of intuition watching our thoughts. Let's sing the first Noel. Angels again. Everything has angels in it for me.
The first Noel, the angel did say, was to certain poor shepherds and fields as they lay, in fields where they lay keeping their sheep on a cold winter's night that was so deep. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel. They looked up and saw a star shining in the east beyond them far, and to the earth it gave great light, and so it continued both day and night. Noel, 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 born is the King of Israel.
Ooh. Give yourselves another hand. Wow, the choir's getting better and better and better with every song we sing. We three kings. You know the story about the three kings. There's the 12 days of Christmas, and for the Christians, Epiphany is on the 12th day when the three kings were said to have visited the stable. And this one was written in 1857 by John Hopkins. And believe it or not, there's nothing in the Bible that says anything about three kings. Nothing. It's all tradition. But that's one of the beautiful stories that's grown up around this birth story. And the thing about stories is it doesn't matter if they were literally true or not, but they point to greater truths. Even Jesus taught in stories. He taught in parables. And the stories weren't things that were true, but they pointed to truths. So it doesn't matter if there are three kings or one king or no kings. It's just that the story is so beautiful. And of course, the star, as we've already talked about, is the light of the truth within. And sometimes our ego thinks that this Christ doesn't exist, that this light of love within us doesn't exist. And then we become wise and we follow that star of the truth within. So that's the meaning of the wise men. We become wise. We follow that truth of that light and the love of spirit within, no matter what's happening in our lives or what's happening in the world. And then the story has the three gifts of the wise men. Gold is for the richness of life. Frankincense is for the beauty of life, and myrrh is for the eternality of life. Just think about that, the richness of life, the beauty of life, and the eternality of life. And think of following that star of your wisdom as we go inside for another minute or so. And let's sing We Three Kings. Do you notice that as we continue, as we go into the silence more and more, you feel that presence more and more? Yes? We Three Kings.
We three kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we traverse afar, field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light. Born a king on Bethlehem's plain, gold I bring to crown him again, King forever ceasing, never over us all to reign. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
One of my favorite Christmas carols, which I heard many times last night, we sang at the Seaside candle lighting service, pretty much all over the airways, The Silent Night. And it was written in 1818 in Austria by a parish priest called Franz Gruber. And the organ was broken that night in Austria. And so he actually sang it with the guitar. He actually wrote it with the guitar. And so how appropriate that we have Carrie with a guitar with no organ. It's kind of how it was written. So we talk about Savior, which is Christ the Lord. And Savior is just that way of salvation through our unity with the whole. That's all it means. We don't have anything to be saved from except for our own thoughts and our own fears and our own false beliefs. And when we allow ourselves to know our unity with the whole, then we allow our lives to flow beautifully and so allow the world to be a better place. And of course, as I said before, Lord is the same of King as a king, that Christ consciousness that transcends the trials and tribulations of this human life. And all those beliefs, and all those false beliefs and those trials and tribulations. And as we sing Silent Night, as we go inside for a moment, Silent Night, I'm sure, I don't know what you all were brought up with but I was brought up as a Methodist, and I remember this song through through many, many years. And I remember all my loved ones who have left the planet, my parents, my husband, 2 sisters, cats that have left the planet. And the thing is that that light in them is still there on the other side, whatever you want to call it. And the whole message of Christmas is that life is eternal, and that light and that love of spirit flows on every plane of existence, on what I call the other side, whatever you want to call it. It's that light and that love of spirit that flows through all beings. So I invite us to now just close our eyes for a few moments, remembering those loved ones who have left the planet and just honoring them for that wisdom and that light and that love that they have not only given us, but continue to give us from the other side. Now let's sing that most beautiful song, Silent Night.
There's a little more of the story of Silent Night, and if I can tell this, Gruber had written this carol and sung it for a small congregation in a little town in Austria, and after Christmas it might have been forgotten, except that in the spring the organ repairman from Salzburg came to fix the organ, and he found Gruber's manuscript on the music stand, and he played it, and he liked it, and he took it back to Salzburg with him. And that's why we know about Silent Night.
We're going to sing 3 verses of Silent Night.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild.
Beautiful. So after we've gone inside and we've allowed our intuition, why don't you just stay up here? As long as we've allowed our intuition to transcend our angry thoughts and our fears and all that stuff, and we've allowed that light of spirit and love and peace to be born in us, then we have joy. And the next song, our last song before we do a few little closing things, is Joy to the World, and Victoria is going to do a reading about future humanity before we do that.
The future man shall be so far above the race that walks the earth today, he would appear among us as God. Oh, yeah. I see it right here. Yet, he will be the common man, nor will there be such selfish aims as now divide mankind. Illusions of false values will dissolve into their native nothingness, and things ephemeral and transient of this earth shall pass away. And by the second birth, the first of consciousness shall so expand that all people of earth shall reach the promised land.
Yes. Woo! So as we sing Joy to the World, which was written by Isaac Watts, the founder of English hymn writing, believe it or not, in 1719, and the music is by George Frederick Handel, let's just be joyful for that light of life that is born within us today and spreads out to all of humanity. So before we complete with an affirmation and a benediction, and you can go have Christmas dinner, I just am curious as to how many of you found us from the paper? How many of you found us from online? How many of you found us from a poster somewhere? How many of you found us from a friend? All right. Well, I am so glad that you're all here. This is our second Christmas Day service ever at Seaside. And again, I love having things on the actual days. Until 2 years ago, I was going to Ohio to visit my mom on Christmas and would do the service at her Methodist retirement facility on Christmas Day because the chaplain didn't want to come on Christmas Day either. So I decided we should have one on Christmas. And I was talking to a Lutheran minister friend of mine last year and told her we're going to have a service at noon on Christmas Day. He says, nobody's going to come. Look at all of you. Give yourselves a hand for coming. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And if you feel so moved, there's some donation baskets in the back. All of our ministries here at Seaside are self-supporting, and I'm very happy to support this holiday ministry, but it would be lovely if if I could have a little help. So thank you so much if you're willing to help defray the expenses. And I just want to thank Melanie doing the sound. Let's give her a hand. Gregory, we're live streaming this for the first time ever. Sharon Powell, our beautiful practitioner in the back, has been holding the light. Our practitioner, Victoria Woods, has been doing the reading. We've had Eileen and Ty as greeters and ushers. And Carrie, thank you so much. We couldn't do this without you. Really, really, really appreciate that. And when we complete, we're going to, those of you who are staying, how many are staying for dinner? All right. We're not going to start eating until 1, okay? So we're going to have a little bit of break, and then so go on in and have a seat and start talking and make some new friends, and we'll actually start eating at 1, and I'll do a pray in there at 1. And again, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here today to celebrate my favorite time of the year with me. So let's all say together an affirmation. Today, I am transformed by the Christ consciousness for peace on earth and a world that works for all. Let's say that one more time. That's what we believe here. We believe in a world that works for everyone and to allow to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence. So let's say this once more. Today, I am transformed by the Christ consciousness for peace on earth and a world that works for all. So I'm just so grateful for this sacred time together, for every beautiful spirit who has come to lend their voices, to lend their consciousness, to lend their joy. And I just know that we go out into our lives with the joy of Christmas in our hearts every single day of our lives for that peace on earth and a world that works for all. And so it is. Amen. Carrie's going to sing us out, and thank you everybody so much for coming. This is the recessional.
Said the night wind to the little lamb, do you see what I see? Way up in the sky, little lamb, do you see what I see? A star, dancing in the night with a tail as big as a kite, with a tail as big as a kite. Said the little lamb to the shepherd boy, do you hear what I hear? Ringing through the sky, shepherd boy, do you hear what I hear? A song, high above the trees, with a voice as big as the sea, with a voice as big as the sea. Said the shepherd boy to the mighty king, do you know what I know? In your palace warm, mighty king, know what I know. A child shivers in the cold. Let us bring him silver and gold. Let us bring him silver and gold. Said the king to the people everywhere, listen to what I say. Pray for peace, people everywhere. Listen to what I say. The child, sleep sleeping in the night. He will bring us goodness and light. He will bring us goodness and light.
Woo! Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, everybody. And the light is with us as the force is with us.
Beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. Take a look in the 5 and 10, glistening once again, with candy canes and silver lanes aglow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, toys in every store. But the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots is the wish of Barney and Ben. Dolls that will talk and will go for a walk is the hope of Janice and Jen. And Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas everywhere you go. There's a tree in the Grand Hotel, one in the park as well, the sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will start, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart, right within